MELODRAMA. Dawud Sayat Guli U. Love. The Cure for Loneliness. dawoodseatguliu@gmail.com, dawoodseatguliu@outlook.com, dawoodseatguliu YouTube. YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Logline. Love story. John, 3035. Businessman. Eva, 3035. Owner of an antique shop. Meeting on the street. Acquaintance in an antique shop. Business. Dinner with friends. Trip to Venice. Wedding. Love. A cure for loneliness. 1. Nat Children's Playground Snowball Morning. Winter. Snow. Playground. Children throwing snowballs at each other. Eva is standing at the edge of the playground and watching the children running and throwing snowballs at each other. Suddenly, a snowball hits Eva from behind. The snowball crumbles and flies apart, leaving a round mark on Eva's coat. Eva turns around, looking back, trying to look behind her. She turns and looks back, trying to figure out where the snowball came from. Alex is standing on the landing near the railing on a rise. Eva looks into his eyes. Alex looks at the children playing on the playground as if nothing had happened. Eva turns and continues to look at the children playing snowballs. Alex rakes snow off the railing with his gloved hand and begins to make a snowball. Eva turns and looks back at Alex. Alex stops making a snowball, frozen in place. Eva turns and walks along the sidewalk, moving away from Alex. Eva reaches the end of the sidewalk and disappears around the corner of the building. Alex goes down the stairs and passes by the playground. Alex walks along the sidewalk. 2. Nat Stop Eva People Bus Morning. Eva approaches the bus stop. About 6 to 7 people are waiting on the bus platform. Cars are driving along the highway. Eva looks at the end of the sidewalk. Alex appears from around the corner of the building and walks towards the bus stop. A bus appears on the road heading towards the stop. Alex approaches the stop. The bus stops. People on the island start to board the bus. Eva boards the bus. Alex switches from walking to running and runs towards the bus. 3. In bus seat Eva sits down morning. Eva gets on the bus and, slightly leaning over, looks through the bus window at the street. She sees Alex running towards the bus. She smiles. She goes to a free seat and sits down on the soft seat. 4. Nat Alex Visit Bus Stop Morning. Alex runs to the bus and jumps onto the bus step, grabbing the handrail with his hand. The driver looks at Alex sternly. 5. In the bus Alex and Eva Morning. Alex stands in the bus and looks at the people sitting and standing on the bus. The driver, seeing that the last passenger has climbed into the bus, closes the door and starts moving. Alex walks along the bus and stops next to Eva, who is sitting on a seat. Alex looks around, not paying attention to Eva. Eva stealthily looks up at Alex. In the almost crowded bus, more than half the people are standing on their feet, holding onto the handrails with their hands. Eva turns to face the window and looks out the window. Pedestrians are walking along the sidewalk on the street. Windy shops and cafes. Alex bends down and looks out the window at the street. Eva moves slightly to the side from the bush, looking at Alex. Alex straightened up and looked around. 6. Nat Stop Passengers Entrance Exit Morning. The bus pulled up to the bus stop and stopped. The doors of the bus opened. People started to get on the bus. One elderly grandmother made her way among the other passengers and stopped next to Eva, who was sitting there. The bus was packed to capacity. All the seats were already taken. People were standing in the aisle huddled close to each other. Eva, seeing the elderly woman, stood up from her seat and offered her to take her seat. Eve. Please sit in my seat. An elderly woman. Oh, thank you, dear. I didn't even know what to do. An elderly woman sat down in Eva's place. The woman sitting next to Eva greeted the elderly woman who sat in Eva's place. Passenger. Hello. An elderly woman. Hello. The bus moved. Eva stood next to the place where the elderly woman sat down. Eva stood with her back to Ali. The bus moved smoothly along the level road. The passengers standing in the aisle of the bus swayed at the slightest turns and maneuvers of the bus. Eva held on to the pillar with one hand and the back of the seat on which the elderly woman sat with the other hand. Alex's hand slid down and touched Eva's hand. Eva looked at her hand and lowered her hand a little lower. The bus tilted on the turn. Alex leaned on Eva. Eva turned around and stood facing Alex, holding on to the handrails of the bus. They looked into each other's eyes. The bus taxied out and stopped at the bus stop. People began to get off the bus. The passengers standing and waiting for the bus to arrive began to get on the bus. The bus moved and went on. Alex and Eva stood facing each other, pressed together and swaying with each maneuver of the bus. The bus turned the corner. Alex leaned all his weight on Eva. Eva braced one hand on Alex's chest. The bus leveled out. Eva turned to the woman standing next to her. Eve. You get off at this stop. Passenger. No. The passenger stepped aside to let Eva pass. Eva squeezed between the passengers on the bus and headed for the exit. People moved aside to let Eva pass to the exit. Eva stood at the exit and began to wait for the bus to stop. Alex looks at Eva standing at the exit. Eva looked into the bus and saw Alex looking at her. Eva lowered her head. 7. Nat Eva bus stop exit morning. The bus stopped at the bus stop. Eva got off the bus and walked around the back of the bus to the other side of the sidewalk. Eva went up the stairs and entered the glass doors of the store. 8. Int Eva store office changing room morning. Eva enters the hall and, greeting the assistant Lima, standing behind the counter in the store, throws her coat off her shoulder. Eve. Good morning, Lama. Lima. Hello. Eve. How are you? Lima. Fine. Eva walked into her office and hung her coat on the hanger. She stood in front of the mirror and combed her hair, fixing it. She put on lipstick and perfume. 9. Nat bus stop Alex morning. The bus pulls away from the stop. People walk along the sidewalk. The passengers from the bus disperse in different directions. Alex stands at the stop looking around. 10. Int store hall showroom Alex Utro. In the store. Eva goes to the store window. Stops in front of the window, frozen in place, looking at the street. Alex stands at the bus stop, looking in front of him at the store across the street. 11 Nat Alex stop shop morning. Alex crosses the road, letting a passing car pass on his way to the store. 12 Int magazine o broshini Eva Alex Utro. Eva turns to Lima. Eve. Lima, go to the checkout. I can handle this myself. The glass doors of the shop open. The bell rings above the door. Alex enters, stands, looks around, walks towards Eva, who is standing behind the partition. Stops and looks at the glass counter. Looks at the things behind Eva. Vases, icons, bracelets, cigarette cases, etc. are displayed on the shelves. At the top was written on a black background in gold letters. Antiques. Alex looked into Eva's eyes and said, Alex. The only thing you can buy. Eva looks into Alex's eyes and begins to shake her head from side to side. Eve. No. Alex turned around and walked towards the exit. He walked out through the glass doors of the antique shop. Eva came out from behind the counter and stood looking at the street. Eva walked to the shop window. Alex stood on the street. Alex looked around and walked along the sidewalk away from the shop. Eva stands in the shop in front of the window. 13. Nat Alex Maba driver home morning. Alex is walking down the street. A white Maybach stops near Alex. Alex speaks. Alex. Home. The car starts moving and drives smoothly down the street. 14. Nat Eva shop phone order taxi day. Eva sits at the table. Picks up the telephone receiver and dials numbers. Beeps. Pause. Silence. Eve. Yes. Hello. I'm talking about the gallery. Eva listens holding the phone to her ear. Eve. Yes. If everything is in force and you are satisfied with my terms. Yes. I would like to come and sign the contract. Yes. Yes. Thank you. I ordered a taxi so I will be with you in about 20 minutes. Okay. Thank you. 15. Int home keys entrance remote control TV. Maybach. Alex drives up to a 2-story marble house on the seashore. He gets out of the car and goes to the entrance, taking the keys with the key fob out of his pocket. He opens the door by pressing the button on the key fob. He enters. He goes up to the second floor. He takes the TV remote control from the table and turns on the TV hanging on the wall. He sits down in the chair. News program. 16. Eva leaves taxi boards day. Eva is sitting at the table in her office. A taxi pulls up. Secretary Ida opens the door and speaks. Ida. The taxi has arrived. Eve. I'm already on my way. Eva quickly finished writing something in her notebook and, taking a blue folder from the table, stood up and went to the coat rack. She put on her coat and headed for the door. On the street, Eva got into a taxi. The taxi started moving and drove along the road. 17. Alex table coffee monitors day. Alex is sitting at the table. Coffee is on the table. A large monitor is broken into pieces. Alex clicks the keys of the keyboard and watches the changes happening on the monitor. Alex clicks for the last time and gets up, takes the coffee from the table and goes to the window. Alex looks at the sea waves outside the window. 18. Eva Gallery Hall contract day. The Great Hall. A place for exhibitions and presentations. Eva stands in the middle of the hall and moves her hands, measuring something in her mind. An elderly man and a young girl stand nearby, looking at Eva and her movements. Eve. Yes. I am completely satisfied. I will arrange everything myself. An elderly man. Of course. Of course. Eve. Where do I sign? Young woman. Right here. The girl opened the folder and held out a pen. Eva signed and, giving the pen, smiled at the girl. The girl smiled back. Eve. Thank you all. Goodbye. An elderly man. Goodbye. The elderly man nodded his head, smiling. Eva walked towards the exit, looking around and surveying the hall one last time. Eva left the building and walked to the taxi waiting at the curb. Eva got into the taxi. The taxi pulled away. 19. Alex Garage Ferrari departure day. Alex walks out of the door of his house. Walks to the garage. As Alex approaches the garage, the gate doors go up. 4 garage doors open. There was a car in each bay. A black Porsche. A red Ferrari. A yellow Lamborghini. A blue Bugatti. Alex stood in front of the bay silently looking at the cars as if evaluating and calculating something in his mind. Alex walked to the Ferrari and got into the car. He started the car and drove out of the bay. The garage doors smoothly went down and closed. 20. Eva exit from the gallery taxi day. Eva comes out of the gallery doors. Eva goes down the stairs. She approaches a taxi waiting at the side of the road. Eva gets in the taxi. The taxi starts moving. 21. Ferrari sidewalk girl door day. A Ferrari is driving along the road in a stream of cars. The Ferrari is driving slowly at the edge of the curb. A continuous stream of people are walking along the sidewalk. A fair-haired girl with her hair down is walking along the sidewalk. The Ferrari is driving slowly, following next to her, catching up with the girl walking in the stream of people. She looks back at the car following next to her. Looking back, she smiles and continues on her way. The Ferrari catches up with the girl, drawing level with her, and stops at the curb. The door of the Ferrari opens from the passenger side. The girl stops and leans over slightly, looking into the car. Alex looks at the girl, looking into her gas, sitting behind the wheel of the Ferrari. She looks around the car, straightening up and standing silently at the side of the road. She takes a couple of steps and gets into the passenger seat of the Ferrari. The girl closes the door of the Ferrari. Young woman. Paradise. The girl extends her hand to Alex. Alex takes the girl's hand in his own and leans forward to kiss her hand. Alex. Alex. Alex takes the wheel of the Ferrari and steps on the gas. The Ferrari pulls into traffic. 22. Taxi exit store conversation day. The taxi stops at an antique shop. Eva gets out of the car after paying the best man. Eva goes to the shop door. She enters the shop. Ida is standing behind the counter. Ida. How? Eve. Everything is fine. Eva goes into her office. Stands by the coat rack. Undresses. Ida enters. Eva turns to her, undressing and hanging her coat on the rack, she says. Eve. That's it. I signed the contract. We need to get ready for the exhibition. The building is excellent. Large and spacious. We have enough space for everything. They stand in front of each other smiling. Eva spread her arms out to the sides. 23. Int girl restaurant order conversation evening. It's cloudy outside. Restaurant. Table. Alex and the blonde girl. Having dinner. Alex. You work. Young woman model. Clock International. Alex. For a long time. Young woman 3rd year. I am here by invitation. Contract for 5 years. Alex. Sure. Young woman. And you? Alex. Investments. Young woman. Wow. Big ones. Alex. Differently. The blonde girl looks questioningly at Alex. Alex. I organize a business from scratch or create a new business. I invest 50% of my money and 50% of other investors. Or, as I am currently planning to invest in a business that has not been able to get off the ground for several years. As the business begins to make a profit, I sell my share of the stock and start something new. Young woman, I don't like continuing the relationship. Alex. What? Young woman. Well, you don't want to continue, but you always start over again. Alex. Yes, I don't like monotony. I always want something new. Young woman. It's strange. People usually want stability, confidence in the future. And you? Why? Are you afraid of something or have you already had a bad experience? Alex is silent. He looks at the girl, thinking about something. As if digging into the past. Alex. There is probably no person who has not had bad experiences in life. Young woman, yes. But not everyone dwells on this. Life goes on. Alex speaks slowly and quietly, drawing out his words. Alex. Yes, of course. You're right, but not everyone easily forgets meanness and betrayal. And continues to live as if nothing happened. Young woman. Yes, of course. There are people who are more adapted to life. They are tougher and stronger in spirit. The girl clenched her fist and shook her hand. Alex. Yes. Alex smiled and laughed as he watched her fist shake the air. The girl also laughed, looking at the laughing Alex. 24 Nat Store exit bus house evening cloudy. Eva is sitting at her desk sorting through papers. She looks at the antique clock hanging on the wall. Suddenly she drops everything and starts getting dressed. Coat rack. She takes her bag from the table and runs to the door. She closes the door and runs across the street looking at the opposite side of the road from where a regular bus appears. Eva stops at the bus stop. The bus pulls up to the stop. Eva gets on the bus. The bus starts moving. Eva is sitting on the bus. Face behind the bus window. The bus is leaving. 25. Nat Ferrari girl driving home evening. It's drizzling. A Ferrari is driving down the road in a stream of cars. Alex is in the car with a girl. Alex looks at the girl and smiles. The girl looks at Alex and smiles back. The Ferrari pulls up to Alex's house. The sea is visible in the distance at sunset. Alex gets out of the car and goes around the car to the door on the passenger side. He opens the door of the Ferrari and holds out his hand to the girl. The girl gets out of the car taking Alex's hand. Alex closes the door of the Ferrari. Alex goes to the door of the house and opens the door by pressing the button on the key fob he is holding in his hand. Alex opens the door wide open holding the door handle. With his free hand he makes a gesture inviting her into the house. The girl bows playfully bowing before Alex. The girl walks through the door of the house. Alex closes the door entering the house. The girl spins around in a circle and looks around the house. Young woman. Yes. High tech. The girl nods and goes further through the open doors. Alex follows the girl. They enter the kitchen. A large, huge kitchen with a large, human-sized window overlooking the sea. The girl looks around. Alex stands in the doorway watching the girl. The girl looks at the clean, shiny stove and says, "Young woman. It doesn't look like they cook here. They urgently need a hostess here." Turning to Alex, the girl says. Alex smiles, lowering his head to the floor. The girl comes out of the kitchen, passing by Alex, and goes to the stairs leading to the second floor. Alex follows the girl. The girl goes up the stairs. Alex follows her. On the second floor, the girl enters the door that is wide open. A large room with a view of the sea. There is a TV on the wall. In the middle of the room is a large double bed. The girl turns to Alex. Alex looks silently, looking into the girl's eyes. The girl is silent, looking into Alex's eyes. Alex. Bedroom. The girl turns and looks at bed. 26-inch table, sofa, TV. Eva. Coffee night. It's raining outside the window. Eva's room. Sofa. Table in front of the sofa. Coffee on the table. Smartphone on the table. Eva holds the TV remote control in her hand. Night outside the window. Rain. A melodrama series is shown on the TV hanging on the opposite wall. On the TV screen, a guy is kissing a girl. Eva leans towards the screen and smiles sweetly. 27-inch bedroom. Girl chair. See night. Alex's house. The bed is on the second floor. A girl is lying in the bed. Alex is sitting in a chair. The door to the balcony is open. Alex jerks up from his seat and goes out onto the balcony. Naked with a towel wrapped around his hip. He stands with his hands on the railing. The rain has stopped. The asphalt and trees in the garden were wet and shimmered in the light of the lanterns. In the distance, in the darkness of the night, the sea is dancing, glittering in the moonlight. 28. Nat. Eva is coming. The square is standing. The elevator. Morning. Eva stands in the hallway and waits for the elevator to arrive. The elevator stops on her floor. The elevator doors open and a 45-year-old woman with a handbag on her shoulder and a small dog in her arms comes out of the elevator. The neighbor smiles at Eva and says hello. Neighbor. Hello. Off to work. The woman does not stop and continues walking down the corridor. Eve. Good morning. Yes. Eva enters the elevator. The elevator doors close. 29. Int. Alex Soul Steam Menashka. Money. Morning. Two nuns of the Christian Catholic Church collect a donation. They are at the door of Alex's two-story house. The doorbell rings. The trill of a nightingale's song. Alex in the shower. Steam. He pauses to listen to the nightingale sherbet. Smoothing his hair and wiping the water from his face, he steps out of the shower. Taking a towel from the hanger, he wraps it around his hip. Alex goes down the stairs. The trill has stopped. The nun reached for the phone button. There was a hissing sound from behind the door as the lock opened. The nun pulled her hand back and stepped back. Alex swung the door open. Alex stood in the doorway, barefoot and with a towel wrapped around his waist. The nuns froze in place, looking at Alex's naked torso and not saying a word. Drops of water were still dripping from his damp hair. Alex. Well. Alex nods and looks at them questioningly. The older nun speaks hesitantly and lowers her head. Senior nun. We received donations for the temple. Alex turns around and goes to the hanger by the huge mirror. The second nun watches Alex without taking her eyes off him as he goes to the hanger with his things. Alex rummaged through his pockets and pulled out his wallet. Alex looked towards the door. The nun looks at Alex without taking her eyes off him. Alex goes back and opens his wallet and says, Alex. How many? Senior nun. As much as God gives. Alex smiled involuntarily and separated 5 or 6 bills and handed them to the nun. The nun takes the bills. Nun. Thank you. God bless you. The nun, turning to her companion, says, Nun. Maria, let's go. She stands silently, not paying attention to her senior mentor. The older one grabs her by the dress and, sharply pulling her towards herself and pushing her forward, says, Nun. Marie, we're leaving. She nodded and walked down the checkerboard patterned path. Alex closed the door. They left. 30. Int. Eva folder stand window street morning. Eva goes to the counter. Takes a blue folder and goes towards her office. Turns and looks towards the window. They stop, thinking about something. Goes to the window. Looks at the street. Cars drive along the road. People walk along the sidewalk. She looks at the bus stop and the bench near the store. Looks away and goes to her office. The office doors close. 31 Nat. Alex Maba Rose store bench morning. A silver Maybach pulls up to an antique shop. The doors of the car open and Alex gets out. He is wearing a suit and a short black jacket. Alex is holding a red rose in his hand. Alex passes by and stops near a bench. He looks around. The Maybach stops at the side of the road. Alex takes a handkerchief out of his pocket and wipes the bench. He throws the napkin into the trash can. He sits down on the bench and looks at the passing cars. 32. Int Eva exit table window Alex Rosé morning. Eva leaves the office with a folder in her hand and, approaching the counter, addresses the assistant standing behind the counter. Eve. Everything is ready. Fine. Eva walks back to her office. Suddenly, she stops, frozen in place. She looks out the window at the street. She goes to the window and starts looking at the street. She sees Alex sitting on a bench. Eva quickly walks to the exit. She opens the door and walks to the bench. Eva walked up to Alex and stopped near the bench. Alex smiled when he saw Eva, still sitting and looking up at her. On the bench next to Alex lay a red rose wrapped in ghostly film. Alex looked at the rose. Eva looked back and looked at the rose. Eve. This is for me. Alex. Yes. Eva took the rose in her hands and smelled the flower. Eva put the rose to her chest. Alex stood up from his seat and walked over to the Maybach. He opened the back door. Eva looked at Alex. Alex bowed his head, inviting him to get into the car. Eva looked at the bench. Then she walked over and got into the car. Alex closed the door and walked around the car to the other side and sat down next to Eva. The car started moving and drove down the road. 33. Nat Alex Mayba Boutique Dress Cahier Day. Maybach drove up to a large store in the city center. One of the expensive boutiques selling elite exclusive clothes and jewelry. The car stopped at the store. Several people standing near the store rushed to Maybach. One of them opened the car door. Another stood next to him and, greeting him and pointing with his hands at the store doors, Alex and Eva entered the glass doors of the store. In the store. The manager came out to meet Alex and Eva. The manager extended his hand and greeted Alex. He bowed and looked towards Eva. Manager. Mr. Greedy. Glad to see you in our store. Decided to update your wardrobe. Alex no. So Eva decided to buy an evening dress and. Eva looked at the men with a little surprise. Alex fell silent, turning to Eva. Alex. We were invited to a party with friends. So Eva needs an evening dress and. Alex fell silent again as the manager stepped forward and extended his hand and said. Arthur Eva. Nice to meet you. I'm Arthur. Eva shook Arthur's outstretched hand and smiled. Arthur. Follow me. And Arthur went into the back of the store. Eva looked at Alex. He nodded his head, pointing at Arthur. Eva followed Arthur. Arthur stopped, turning and addressing Eva. Arthur. I think you will be a frequent guest of our boutique. Our establishment is the only one in the world where you can buy everything. From stockings to hats. From handbags to watches. From chains to diamonds. And all this. From the best world brands. And all these are the latest models and colors. Please. He stopped in the middle of the large hall. Several girls approached Eva from all sides with hangers on wheels on which dresses and handbags were hung. One of the girls rolled up a stand with shoes of all types and colors. Arthur gestured for them to sit down on the sofa. Arthur. Please make yourself comfortable. Make yourself at home. Arthur raised his hands up like a conductor. Alex passes by Eva, who is sitting on the couch, black shoes are being put on her feet, and smiles. Eva looks at Alex passing by and smiles at him. Alex goes through the open doors leading to another hangar and finds himself in a long large room. On the counters and the stand the entire wall is hung with jewelry. Gold jewelry, encrusted with diamonds. Alex walks along the entire row and stops at the counter. Alex points his finger to a thin box made of 2 doors to the girl standing behind the counter. In the box on black velvet lies a diamond necklace in the middle, a pair of earrings and a wrist bracelet in the middle of which lay a diamond ring. The girl put her hands under the mirror and carefully took out the box. The girl put the box on the counter and looked at Alex. Alex silently looked at Nicola Richie's diamond collection. Eva stands in front of a large mirror in the store. A red, tight, knee-length dress. Red, pointed-toe stilettos. A red, elongated handbag on a shoulder strap. She looks behind her back. Alex walks down the corridor towards Eva. Alex holds a necklace in his left hand behind his back. Arthur and the girls are standing nearby, a little to the side. Alex walked up to Eva holding his left hand behind his back and looked her over from head to toe. Eva, seeing that Alex was evaluating her outfit, turned around and twirled around. Alex turned to Arthur and, closing his eyes, nodded slightly in approval. Alex took a couple of steps and, coming close to Eva, turned her towards the mirror. Alex lifted Eva's hair with his right hand and put the necklace on Eva's neck. Eva froze standing in front of the mirror, looking at her reflection. The diamond sparkled, reflected in the mirror. 34. Int Palace Dinner Conversation Fountain Evening. The Maybach drove up to a 3-story house. The gates opened. The car drove through the opening gates. The car stopped in front of the house. Alex opened the car door and got out. Having walked around the car, Alex stood in front of the house on the marble platform. Alex turned to the Maybach in which Eva was sitting. Seeing that Eva was sitting in the car and not getting out, he smiled. He opened the car door wide. Eva got out of the car and smiled at Alex. Alex smiled looking at Eva. Having closed the car door, Alex gave Eva his hand and entered the doors opened by the doorman. On either side of the doors stood 2 doormen frozen in place. Hall. Alex and Eva enter the house and walk down the hall. They enter a large hall. People in pairs. 3 people. In some places, several are standing or sitting in different places in the room. A girl separated from the group of people standing by the column and went to meet Alex. Ada came up and hugged Alex, kissing him on the cheek. Hell always late. Businessman. Ada spoke and looked at Eva. Alex. Yes. Ada, I want to introduce you to my girlfriend. Eva. Alex stepped aside, pointing at Eva. Ada looked at Eva, then at Alex, then at Eva. Alex and Eva looked at each other. Ada took Eva's hand and pulled her toward her, speaking and pulling Eva along with her. Ada. You want me to introduce her to our people? Ada walked down the hall holding Eva's hand in hers. Alex stood silently smiling, looking after them. Alex walked up to the men sitting by the electric fireplace. Alex shook hands with the men. Bean. How is life? Alex. Great. Bean. How are you? Alex. Not bad. One of them, Bob, stood up and offered a chair. Alex sat in the offered chair. Bob took and brought a new chair and sat down next to him. Eva, led by Ada, came out of the large 4-meter doors of the house. The backyard of the house was laid with a neatly trimmed lawn. In the middle of the lawn of the yard stood a large marble fountain, ringed with a circle and laid with marble slabs. Along the entire circumference of the fountain stood large massive marble benches. In the distance on the hill stood a white marble gazebo, entwined with living green vines of red roses. Ada pulled Eva to the gazebo along the only laid white marble path. Alex sat in a chair looking out a huge window that covered the entire wall overlooking the backyard. Alex saw how Ada led Eva to the gazebo. Roy, Alex, we decided to marry Max. Max, you asked Max about this. Roy, you are the oldest among us. Everyone stared at Max. Roy. He's already 34, we're 30, he's holding us all back. Max, I'm giving way to you. Jim, Max, why are you dragging your feet on this? Max. Oh, come on, I have enough problems as it is. And the expenses, all they care about is money. Jim. Yes. Well, pick one with money so that she doesn't beg you for it. Max. The rich are worse than the poor. They only think of thick lips and pomaded faces. Only clothes, restaurants and diamonds. And I won't even mention the parties. Orgies from morning till night. Roy. No. Yes. Susan is not right for you. That's for sure. She's rich and beautiful, but that's not it. Jim, she is not worthy of you. Max, at least thanks for that. Roy. Well, there are still more or less normal ones in the provinces. Max. That's exactly what you say yourself, more or less. A heel will break new shoes. A phone will break a new Athos. Buy one dress, it requires 6. Buy a jacket, it requires mink. Jim, and you want no expenses at all. Max. No, I don't. I want to be like myself. To live according to my needs. I can buy a Philip Potek diamond for 100,000. And I have a Rolex for $100. It's also an excellent watch and it also shows time. Not a regular standard diamond. Jim, what are you hinting at me? Max. No, Jim. Your money. You can wear whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want. We live in a free world. Everyone can do whatever they want, within the law of course. I earned my money myself. Jim. What do you mean to say? I don't earn my own money. John. Jim, we're all sitting here listening to Max. And no one takes anything personally. We're just talking and sharing our opinions. Even though we all know that all your money and startup capital comes from your dad. Jim, it's not my fault. Is it my fault that my father is rich? John. And no one blames you. We are talking to Max now. And he earned all his money with his own labor and. Or what do you want to reproach Max for? Jim. No. What are you saying? I love and respect Max. I was thinking about something else. Jim stood up and walked over to Max, holding out his hand. Max looked at the outstretched hand and slapped it with his palm. Jim walked over and sat down in his seat. Roy, so, what were we talking about? Max. Oh, screw it. Bean. Max said that he wants a family. But he has a condition. He wants an educated, beautiful, not wasteful, modest, well-mannered family woman who would raise his children. What is most important in life for a man or children? Everything is simple and clear. Everyone fell silent, looking at the speaker. John. Everything is simple and clear. Yes, everyone would like such happiness. But where is it lying around? Everyone burst out laughing. Marble gazebo. Ada leads Eva to the gazebo where there are 5 girls. Hell, meet our new additions. The girls stood up from their seats and surrounded Eva and Ada. The girls stood silently looking at Eva. Cezanne, well, don't keep me in suspense. Who is it? Ada spread her arms to the side and pointed at Eva and said. Hell, Eva, Alex's girlfriend. The girls smiled and perked up. She. What a surprise. It means Alex has decided to settle down. The girl extended her hand to Eva and introduced herself. Susan. Susan. The other one slightly pushed Susan away and, holding out her hand, said, looking at Eva. Roxy, Alex always had good taste. I'm Roxy. Eva shook Roxy's hand. Another girl squeezed between those standing and, holding out her hand, said. Layla, yes, she is a beauty. Layla. Eva smiled as she shook Layla's hand. Everyone perked up and started chattering in chorus. All in unison, yes, beauty. One of the girls began to fuss. Susan, come on, sit down. Eve, no, I'll stand. Layla, you'll have to stand for a long time. Sit down. She took Eva by the hands and sat her down in her chair. All the girls hurried and sat down in their places. Ada turned around and went to the exit of the gazebo. Hell. I'll go tell them to bring us some drinks. It's getting stuffy in the evenings and hotter during the day. The girls watch Ada walk away. Susan. Well, tell me. Eve. What to tell? Susan, all. Where do you live? Eve, on the street. Susan, I see. What are you doing? Eve. Working. All the girls began to stare at Eva. Eva, seeing that everyone was looking at her, continued. Eve, I have an antique store. Layla. Own. Eve, yes. I got it from my father. Layla. Sure. Roxy, the calle is beautiful. Nicola Richie. Eve. Yes. Eva slightly puffed out her chest and ran her fingers over the glittering diamonds. Roxy. The necklace is expensive, not less than 10,000. The store brings in a good profit. Eve, yes. But the necklace is a gift. Roxy. It's clear. The girls smiled. Eva was a little embarrassed. A guy dressed all in black approached the gazebo. Messenger. The ladies call you to the table. Living room. In the middle of the living room a table was set for about 20 people. The men had already settled down at the table. Among the men there was only one woman. Ada. The sound of footsteps and voices was heard in the corridor. The women entered the living room. Ada raised her hand up and waved her hand, attracting Eva's attention. Hell, Eva, go to court. Eva walked over and sat down next to Ada. Hell, sit with me. If anything happens, I'll be with you. At the table they began to put food on plates. Ada leaned towards Eve and asked. Hell well, have we washed your bones? Eve. Not really. Eva waved it off, smiling. Hell. Be careful not to say anything personal about yourself. These bitches will find out your weak points and then you're screwed. Eva looked at Ada with a tense, frowning brow. Hell. Don't frown. This is life. They will smile sweetly and assure you of eternal friendship. Even the devil succumbs to female cunning. Once they find out that you are weak, poor, beautiful or smart, or you can't stand up for yourself, you will be eaten alive. Eva fell silent and started. Hell. Don't be afraid. I'm with you. I know everything about them. About their relatives, about their debts, about their lovers, about their interests, about their weaknesses, about their money. I know how much they're worth. I always tell the truth. That's why they're afraid of me. They started putting food on the girls' plates. They came to life for the straw and started eating. Each person preferred what they liked. A tall, handsome, fair-haired guy stood up from behind the table with a glass in his hand. John. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a new addition to our circle. As the host of the house, I would be honored to introduce you to the most beautiful girl in the universe. Eva, I think you all already know that this girl is Alex. The most beautiful man not only in the universe, but in all of infinity. John pointed his hand in an arc in the air, outlining infinity. Everyone put down their cutlery and clapped their hands. John, this applause is for you, not for me. John turned to look at Eva. John sat down in his seat and, looking at Alex, bowed his head, raising his glass of wine. Alex took a glass of wine from the table and, raising the glass up and looking at John, nodded his head. He took a couple of sips and put it on the table. Everyone at the table began to clatter with their utensils, devouring their food. Living room. A long table in the middle of the living room. Men on one side, women on the other. Men and women sit opposite each other. In the living room everyone was busy eating. Eva looked at Alex. Alex smiled at Eva. Steve noticed Eva smiling and turned his gaze to John sitting opposite Eva. Seeing that Alex was smiling too. Steve, Eva, how did you meet? Everyone turned their heads at once, looking at Eva. Eva lowered her head. Raising her head and looking into Steve's eyes, she answered. Eve. Accidentally. Steve. And where? Eve. On the street. Steve, I see. You don't want to tell us. Eve. No, I can't tell. And Eva looked into Alex's eyes. Alex slowly closed and opened his eyelids again. Eve. I was walking to work at my antique shop on street and stopped at a playground. The kids were playing snowballs. Then it snowed. It was the last day of winter. A week ago. I was staring at the kids. I used to love playing snowballs myself. They were just about to hit a snowman. Suddenly a snowball hit me from behind. I looked back thinking that it was kids playing in. Eva fell silent and looked at Alex. Eve. There was no one behind me except a man looking at the children playing snowballs. A black-haired man in a short coat with a red scarf. I turned back to look at the children and suddenly turned back, I don't know why. The man was standing and making another snowball, apparently belonging to me. Eva fell silent and, smiling, closed her eyes in pleasure and surprise that she could calmly talk about this. Steve, and what happened next? Eve, that's how we met. Steve, no, I mean what happened next. Literally. Layla. Steve, leave Eve alone. Layla looked at Steve, looking into his eyes tensely and concerned about this question. Steve. Not finishing a story is like going halfway and stopping at a crossroads. Eva continued. Eve. I went to my stop to catch the bus. When I arrived at the stop and began to wait for the bus, I saw that the man was walking to the stop. I got on the bus. He also got on my bus. That's how we got to my work. Charles. He came into your store and introduced himself as Alex Greedy, and... Eve. Yes, Alex came into my store but didn't introduce himself. Everyone put down their food and began to look at Eva. She saw that everyone was waiting for the continuation and said. Eve. He just left. Charles. He just left. Eve. He just left. I see. He intrigued the girl and left. Ada, I see. That's how men get what they want. Everyone at the table burst into loud laughter. John is standing near the pool. There are several guys next to John. John, tomorrow you will start. Worker. Fine. John. Start early in the morning so that you can get it done in a couple of days. Then it will be hot. Got it. Worker, okay. Everything is clear. Alex and several men are standing on the street. Alex looked at the marble fountain in front of the house. Girls were huddled near the fountain. Alex went to the fountain. Alex stopped at the fountain. Eva was standing on the other side of the fountain. Having led Alex away, she looked at him through the splashing waters of the fountain. Seeing that Alex was looking at her, Eva walked around the fountain and approached Alex. Alex smiled. Eva smiled back. Alex. Tired. Eve. Not really. Alex. Yes. Or no. Eve. No. Eva shook her head. Alex, I don't mean physically, but mentally. Eve. Yes. A little. Alex. Let's go home. Eve. Let's go. Alex took her hand in his and they walked down the path holding hands to the main entrance of the house. 35. Nat Eva May believes house entrance night. The Maybach drove up to Eva's house. Alex got out of the car and walked around the car and opened the door. Alex gave Eva his hand. Eva got out of the car. Alex leaned against the car and began to look at Eva. Eva. See you tomorrow. Eva came up and kissed Alex on the lips. She turned around and walked towards the glass doors of the multi-story building. Eva walked through the doors waving her hand to Alex in a request. Alex raised his hand and got into the car. 36 int Alex Devan TV News Night. Alex's house. Alex goes up to the second floor. Alex sits down on the sofa and takes the remote control from the table and turns on the TV. News. Alex throws his head back. 37. Int Eva apartment bedroom fall night. Eva entered the apartment and closed the door behind her. She put her purse and keys on the table. She took off her shoes and went into the room. She looked around and went into the bedroom and stood by the bedroom. She threw herself on the white silk-covered sailor. 38. Ali Porsche flower shop morning. A black Porsche pulled up to the flower shop. Alex got out of the car and walked through the glass doors of the flower shop. There was a whistle as the door opened. There was a sign above the door of the shop. World of Flowers. The girl standing behind the counter came out from behind the bar and stood in front of Alex. Saleswoman, hello. I can help you. Alex. Yes. Alex glanced at the row of shelves filled with flowers of all kinds and colors. Alex. I called and ordered a red rose from you the other day. I would like to order exactly the same one. The saleswoman walked to one of the stands and returned with a red rose in her hand. She showed the rose to Alex. Alex, yes, it has spikes. Saleswoman, yes. But if you want, I'll cut off the thorns. Alex, no. Then it won't be a rose anymore. Saleswoman, yes, I didn't think about that. The saleswoman looked at the flower thoughtfully. Alex pulled a business card with an address and money out of his pocket. Alex, here is the address and money. Alex placed the card and money on the counter. Alex. Thank you. Saleswoman. Please. The girl put the flower on the counter and began to wrap it in transparent oilcloth. Alex left the store. The sound of a whistle was heard as the door opened and closed. 39 int Eva sleeping doorbell rosé morning. Eva's apartment. Messenger. The messenger has a box in his hands. He rings the doorbell. The bell rings. Eva is lying in bed. She lifts her head half asleep. The bell rings. Eva throws off the blanket and, hastily putting on her slippers, runs to the door. Eva looks through the peephole. Messenger. Eva opens the door a crack. Messenger. Hello. Eve. Good morning. Messenger. Please accept the parcel. Eva opens the door hiding behind the door. The messenger opened the box and carefully took out a rose. He handed it to Eva. Eva smiled and took the rose. The messenger turned around and walked down the hallway. Eva closed the door and went into the living room. She took a glass vase from the windowsill and put the rose in the vase. She took a couple of steps back and began to look at the rose. 40. Int Artist Studio Canvas Model Morning. The Porsche pulled up to the mirrored building and parked at the curb. Alex got out of the car and walked to the doors. Alex pressed one of the buttons and spoke as if he were talking to himself. Alex. David, it's me who will open the door. David. Alex. Alex. Yes. David. Entrances. The lock on the door clicked. Alex touched the door handle and opened the door. Alex walked inside and began to climb up the large spiral staircase to the second floor. A huge room, furnished with scaffolding and canvases. A long-haired curly guy stood with a brush in his hand in front of the canvas. By the open window, a naked woman lay on golden taffeta, holding a bitten apple in her hand. David. What wind? David spoke and continued to paint on the canvas. Alex. Along the way. David turned around and looked closely at Alex. David, what's happened? Alex, and what was supposed to happen? David continued to smear on canvas. David. Well, it's like you've changed. Or that you've decided to order your portrait. Alex. No. Alex walked over to the coat rack and pulled down a large silk white blanket. He took the blanket and opened the blanket and walked over to the naked girl. Alex covered the girl with the blanket and wrapped it around her shoulders. David put down his brush and. David. Donna, make us some coffee. Donna rose from her taffeta and, taking a bite of her apple, walked through the open door at the far end of the room. The men stood frozen in silence as they watched Donna. David took a chair on wheels and rolled it to the table. He rolled a second chair for himself and sat down in it, crossing his legs. Alex watched everything David did and then sat down in the chair. David, you didn't come to me just like that. Alex. Yes. David. Let's. Alex, I have one request for you. David. And. Alex, I want you to write about one girl. And Alex took out the photograph and put it on the table. David, you know I'm busy. David leaned forward and began to look at the girl in the photograph. David. Beauty. Then looking intently at Alex. David. Are you in love? Alex. I don't know, but when I see her something happens in my chest. David. This is what is called love. Footsteps came from the kitchen. Donna, clattering on her heels, covered in a white silk sheet, carrying a tray in her hand. 41 Int Eva Lima Conversation Shop Morning. Antique store. Lima is standing behind the counter. Eva is sitting on the couch with paper scissors and cutting out some tags from an album lying on the table in front of her. Lima. What are you afraid of? Eve. It was as if some typhoon had caught me and some tornado was spinning me and carrying me into some abyss. Eva spreads her arms and shows a whirlpool around herself. Sheet metal. You like him? Eve. Yes. You see, he acts as if the whole world belongs to him. Sheet metal. There is an exhibition on Wednesday. We will not open the store. Eve. No. I'll need you. Help me if I can't keep up with the visitors. Okay. Sheet metal. Fine. 42 Int Maybe Lavka Alex Eva Morning. The Maybach pulled up to an antique shop. Eva came out of the shop holding her purse and ran to the Maybach. The back door of the Maybach opened and Eva got in. Alex and Eva kissed. Alex, well, are you ready? Eve. Yes. Alex. Let's go. Maybach moved off and drove into the stream of cars. 43. Nat Alex Eva Park Bench Day. The Maybach stopped at the park near the seashore. Alex got out of the car and opened the back door. Eva got out and stood next to him. The car moved off and drove away. Alex took Eva by the hand and pulled her into the park. Alex and Eva are walking in the park. The huge trees have blossomed and are covered with young leaves. Alex and Eva walked slowly along the concrete path between the benches under the crowns of the large trees. Alex, maybe I can help with the exhibition. Eve. No, I have already organized and agreed on everything. I want to do it myself. Eva fell silent, choosing her words. Alex. Well, okay. If you do it yourself, then do it yourself. But still, our people said that everyone would be there. Eve. I know. Ada told me that they would all come to see my exhibition. And she also invited some famous artist from Italy. She didn't say who, though. She said it would be a surprise. Alex. Yes. She loves surprises. Eva stopped at one of the benches. Eve. Let's sit down. Alex. Tired. Eve. No, just sit under the trees. Alex took a handkerchief out of his pocket and wiped the bench. He looked around and threw the handkerchief into the trash can near the bench. Eva looked at Alex attentively. She smiled and sat down on the bench. Eve. It's already warm. The birds have become more lively. The singing and chirping of birds could be heard from everywhere. They ran after each other on the grass and flew up into the branches of trees. Alex. Yes, at the beginning of spring everything comes to life and blossoms. Eve. That's why I love spring. Flowers everywhere and the smell of soil. Alex. And I am autumn. Eve. Why? There is always mud and slush all around. The trees are bare as. There are yellow rotten leaves all around. It rains endlessly. Alex. Without rain there would be no spring. Can trees bloom and blossom like that without rain? And leaf fall. And the leaves are yellow, red, burgundy, they lie like a carpet on the ground. The most beautiful thing in nature is leaf fall. Alex. Yes. Eva reached out and buried her fingers in Alex's hair and pulled his head towards her. Eva bowed her head towards Alex. Alex and Eva leaned into each other and kissed deeply. 44 int Alex coffee window dawn bell morning. Alex's house. Alex in white trousers and a red shirt stands in the kitchen. There is a mug of coffee on the table in front of Alex. Alex takes the mug from the table and goes to the glass doors that open onto the sea. Alex goes to the seashore. Alex comes to the edge of the sea and takes a couple of sips. Looks at the red glow spreading across the horizon. The sun appears on the horizon, jumping out of the sea and illuminating the world with its light. The trill of a telephone ringing is heard. A nightingale's trill. Alex takes a flip cell phone and opens the lid. Alex. Yes. Hello. Yes. Found out. Yes. Urgent. Right now. Yes. Good. Alex snapped the small mobile phone shut and stood there for a moment before walking quickly towards the house. 45. Int Embankment Cafe Chaiwi Mother John's Day. Embankment. Cafe. Chairs and tables in the open air. At one of the tables sits a gray-haired elderly woman of 65 years old. On the table are cups of coffee and a carafe of water. John's mother. The Porsche pulled up and stopped on the opposite side of the street at the curb. Alex got out of the car and looked towards the embankment. Seeing John's mother sitting alone at a table, he crossed the street to her. Alex saw a parked limousine across the street and a security guard standing by the car. Alex walked up to the table and leaned over to kiss the woman's hand. She smiled and said, "John's mother, I always wanted a son like you." Alex sat down at the table on one of the empty chairs. They looked at Alex. John's mad. You've already had breakfast. Alex. Yes, I woke up early. I still brought you your favorite bird's milk. Alex looked in front of him at the cup of coffee and the sweet packed in a transparent case. Alex smiled widely and strangely. John's mother. I want to talk to you frankly. But only so that no one knows about it. You understand me? Alex. Yes. John's mother. Why did I turn to you? Because you are the only one they all listen to. You are the only one who transfers money to my charity every month. I don't even need to be reminded. I'm talking about the charity. You know my son. He is a follower. He needs to be guided, prompted, explained. You are a different matter. You don't need anything explained to you. But he needs to be pushed. You understand me? Alex. Yes. John's mother. I want you to influence him. These parties until the morning, nightclubs, women, impudent faces, big lips, expensive cars. You understand me? Alex. Yes. John's mother. I wanted you to help me marry Karen. They are traditionally rich. They are cultured, well-mannered people. But I know you will refuse me in this matter. And I don't want to be refused by you. Alex: yes. I don't interfere in people's personal affairs. John's mother: I know. That's why I ask you about it. I know your principles. You don't interfere in anything. You don't judge anyone. You don't conflict with anyone. You don't ask anyone. You don't believe in anything. You believe only in yourself. As you once said, every artist creates himself. Alex: yes. I know. You can't change a person. You can influence him. You can help him. You can destroy him, but you can't change him. John's mother: that's why I want you to help him. He trusts you. You understand me. Alex: yes. John's mother: all this is temporary. He is already 32 years old. He does not even think about the future. All these gold jewelry, keychains, diamonds are for the poor. Beggars love glitter and tinsel. Why have I never heard that you drink and blaspheme? Why have I never seen diamonds and jewelry on you? He does not think about his health. He has been treating his kidneys for several years, but what is the use of treatment if you continue to live a dissolute life? This year I have tried in every way to influence my son. I want to enlist your support. I want him to do charity work. Let him see with his own eyes how many disadvantaged and disenfranchised people suffer on our sinful earth. Every few months you find time and participate in charity events. I cannot reproach you for anything. I know how busy you are. You are running several businesses. You have enough of your own problems. You understand me. Alex: yes, I understand everything. Alex closed and opened his eyes again, bowing his head slightly. John's mother: he started gambling. Last month he lost $1.5 million. I don't think about money anymore. While his father has hundreds of millions, money doesn't matter. But you see where this is going. Alex shook his head up and down, frowning and thinking about something. John's mother: in my circle, many throw money around, arrange expensive celebrations, luxurious weddings, throw tens of hundreds of millions of dollars down the drain. I find them disgusting. They make me sick. But I need to be tolerant. I live among these people. I have no other society. They don't understand that their children follow their example. I don't want my son to be like their children. Until it's too late. I think until it's too late. You are on my side. Alex: yes. That's all I wanted to hear from you. I want you to talk to him. But not to pressure, not to threaten, not to manipulate. Alex: I know. John's mother: I know that you know better than me what to do, but I couldn't help but say it because we're talking about my son. Alex: I understand. I will be very careful. John's mother: I didn't expect anything else from you. She stood up from her chair. Alex stood up and waited. John's mother: don't see me off. John's mother stood up and walked toward the limo parked at the curb. A security guard walked toward her. Alex looked at the cold coffee on the table and watched the woman walk away. 46. Nat Alex Building Office Day. A black Porsche pulls up to a 35-story mirrored building in the city center. Alex gets out of the car and walks to the building's entrance. Alex enters through the automatically opening sliding transparent doors. The security guard at the entrance shakes Alex's hand. Alex: how is life? Carlo: excellent. Drive away. Alex: yes. Thank you. Alex handed the keys to the Porsche to Carlo. Alex nodded and walked to the elevator. Alex walked and greeted people the whole way to the elevator. Alex approached the elevator. A woman of about 30 called out to Alex from the hall. Nika. Alex. Alex turned towards the hall and saw Nika running towards him. Nika ran up and stopped in front of Alex. Good morning. The cybersecurity engineer is waiting for you. Nika pointed her hand into the depths of the hall. A young man of about 20 was sitting on the sofa at a table. When Alex turned in his direction, he stood up from his seat and began to wait standing until he was called. Alex. Good morning, Nika. You are getting better every day. Alex looked at Nika with a completely serious expression on his face. Nika, in a blue classic strict suit with sleekly slicked back blonde hair and thin golden glasses on her nose, smiled and answered. Nika. Today you are joking or serious? Alex. I'm not joking today. Alex turned towards the hall and waved his hand to the guy standing by the sofa. The guy, seeing that he was being called, headed towards Alex. Alex, Nika, you introduced him to our rules. Nobody know, I was waiting for you. Alex. Okay, hey. A young man came up and extended his hand to Alex. Alex extended his hand back. Soul. Jean Lore. Alex. Alex greedy. Jean stood as if he was standing at attention, without moving. Alex looked Jean up and down and stopped his gaze on the thin folder in Jean's hands. Jean followed Alex's gaze and answered. Soul. Laptop. Alex. Armed. Jean smiled. Soul. Yes. Alex. Okay. Nika. My secretary. Personal secretary. All the information in this building. She knows everything that happens in this building. Then come up to me. The elevator doors opened and Alex entered the elevator. The elevator doors closed. The glass elevator began to slowly rise upward. Nika and Jean are standing in the middle of the first floor building. Men and women are walking with papers in their hands, hurrying about their business. Nobody. This building is owned by Alex Greedy. Intercom. Alex rents out offices to over 100 companies and firms. The first floor is used by the building's service personnel, the rest are given over to offices. Alex has kept the top floor entirely for himself. There is your office there if you are satisfied with working for our organization. You are in the office opposite, this is the building manager. Alex is the owner of the building, and the managing director is Anthony Roy. The 30-story Intercom building is serviced by 44 people, with you there will be 45. Nika pointed her hand towards the elevator and said. Nobody. Let's now go up to the top floor. You'll see the workplace. They walked to the elevator. Alex stood near the table with a cup of coffee in his hand and looked out the huge window that covered the entire wall at the huge city spread out before his eyes. In the elevator. Nika, turning to Jean and looking through the transparent glass of the elevator, continued to explain. Nika. Your task is to IBR security. We have received information about the leakage of personal data of some of the company representatives. You have to find and neutralize the problem. All computers, landline and mobile phones are at your disposal. All information about employees in this building and third-party workers will be provided to you immediately. The elevator stopped. The elevator doors opened. Nika pointed with her hand, inviting them to the exit. Jean stood motionless and pointed with his hand, inviting Nika to go first. Nika looked into Jean's eyes and went out first. Jean followed. They found themselves in a corridor. The entire row of the corridor was lined with offices with transparent windows and doors. There was not a single person in any of the offices. Alex was standing in one of the offices, looking out the window at the street. Nika opened the door and entered the office, letting Jacques pass. They stopped in the middle of the office. Alex turned and began to look into Jean's eyes. Alex. Well. Soul. I agree. 47. Int Alex house nun 1 entrance morning. Alex's house. The nun approaches the door of Alex's house. The nun looks around and presses the doorbell. The door lock trills. The nun adjusts her monastic robe and waits in front of the door. The click of the lock opening is heard. Alex opens the door and looks at the nun. Alex. Well, I'm all ears. The nun silently lowered her head. Alex looked around and saw no one except the young nun. The nun raised her head in embarrassment and looked at Alex. Alex remembered the nun. She was one of the 2 nuns who had come a couple of days ago and collected donations for the monastery. Alex took her by the apron of her dress and pulled her towards him. The nun obediently walked forward. Alex pulled the nun into the door of his house and closed the door behind him. 48 Int Alex friends restaurant conversation evening. Restaurant. Alex is sitting at a table by the window. His friends are around him. Having lunch. John, Jim, Max, Roy, Bob, Steve, Carl. Steve. I turn the intersection, and there is a one-way sign. And guess what? There is a patrol car parked right next to the curb. I don't even realize how I backed up and parked next to the curb. I think, okay, I'll pay the fine anyway, I won't have time. And the patrolman comes up to me and points his finger at me, laughing his head off. Then he motions for me to go. And I drove off before I could change my mind. Alex. I heard you lost $1.5 million at the Ritza casino. Alex turns to John. John, yes. The trick didn't work. Bob, but the chip was lucky. John. Life is a risk. Carl. Life is a business. Money rules the world. Without money, no one needs you, not even yourself. Alex, do you think you can win at the casino? John. No, Alex. I'm not a fool either. I took a risk and it didn't work out. That's all. Carl, maybe there is not enough adrenaline. Alex. Okay, that's good. Otherwise, gambling doesn't lead to anything good. I'm right. Everyone sitting at the table perked up. Alex. We have a rule. Drugs, weapons, illegal organizations, politics. Risky ventures. Crimes outside the law. Moment, yes. Yes. Alex is right. There's nothing to talk about. John raised his hands up. John. I promise this will never happen again. I give you my word. Everyone at the table looked at John. Jim changed the subject. Jim, Alex, gallery at Eva's when? Alex, tomorrow at 5:49 Nat Eva gallery viewers painting day. Gallery. Exhibition of paintings, vases, antiques. Ancient antiques, inlaid with gold and silver. Paintings are hung on the walls. Vases and figurines are displayed on the shelves. Men and women walk by and look at them, discussing the ancient and rare handmade works of art. Eva stands in the center of the room, accepting congratulations and compliments addressed to her. Ada, Susan and several women stand nearby. An elderly gray-haired woman approaches and addresses Eva. An elderly woman. Very, very beautiful exhibition. It is hard to believe that people created such miracles with their own hands. How much work and talent was invested. Our humanity has a simply fantastic past. With such rare exhibits, you can open a museum. You haven't thought about it yet. Eva looked towards those entering the door. Two people entered the building. A man of about 50 in an expensive blue suit, and a young woman of about 25 in a red dress with a burgundy tint. Eva's assistant walked towards those who entered. Eve. Not yet, but now I will definitely think about this topic. Alex enters the door and walks down the hall towards Eva. Eva sees Alex and walks towards him. The women standing with Eva exchange glances. Eva approaches and stops in front of Alex. Alex holds out both hands. Eva gives him both hands and they stop in front of each other. Alex. Well, how is it? Eva, I should ask you this. Well, how? Alex. Oh well, let me look around. Although at first glance it is beautiful. Like in a museum. Eva, I've heard that before. Alex. What? Eva, nothing. Your people are waiting for you there by the column. Eva pointed her hand into the depths of the hall into the crowd of strolling people. Alex let go of Eva's other hand, which he still continued to hold in his own. Alex smiled and walked towards the column. Alex passed by the stand on which stood a white marble Cupid with wings as if he wanted to flutter into the sky. Alex looked askance at the Cupid and walked into the hall towards the column. Alex approached his friends. John. Where are you? I thought you'd be the first to arrive. You'd be meeting us. Alex. Works. Bob. Are we lazy? Jim, don't whine. Don't be boring. Roy. Alex. And she's talented. I walked around the gallery. There's simply nothing to find fault with. She mixed everything up, both ancient times and modern art. Even I figured out what was what. Max. Davide is needed here. You can't figure it out without an artist. Alex, why didn't he come? Alex looked around. Alex, I invited him myself. John. He is in crisis. I myself spoke with his muse. He does not want to see anyone. Max. Yes, he is always in crisis. John. Yes. Suddenly there was a noise in the hall. People began to turn around and look towards the door. There were already more than 100 people in the hall. Two guys in work clothes brought in a 2-meter painting covered with a white silk cloth through the opened doors. John, Alex and all his friends turned and began to look in that direction. The workers walked among the people who had stepped aside and leaned the painting against the wall. After looking around, They removed several vases to the floor and put the painting on an improvised pedestal. The painting rose a meter from the ground and stood right in the center of the hall, leaning against the wall. On the sides stood white Japanese vases with flowers from some Buddhist temple. The workers carefully pulled off the white cloth and headed for the exit. The cloth flew down and remained lying on the floor, curled up into a curtain. Before the eyes of the visitors to the gallery appeared a young, beautiful, white-faced, scarlet-lipped, 25-year-old girl in a white, translucent wedding dress. Everyone standing in the hall froze and began to look at the girl in the painting. Those standing at a distance came closer to get a better look at the girl. After a while, people began to turn around and look for the hostess of the gallery. Now in an arc. All eyes were directed at Eva. Eva stood in the middle of the hall and looked at the painting without taking her eyes off. The painting depicted her in full height and smiled, looking straight ahead. Eva stood and looked at the exact copy of herself without saying a word. Suddenly, in the deathly silence, John began to applaud quietly and softly, clapping his hands. The people around him snapped out of their stupor and began to quietly join in the applause, and one after another, they clapped their hands as if after the end of the performance. The hall exploded with loud applause. 50. Nat Airport. Alex Eva husband and wife mourning. A Maybach pulls up to the airport entrance. Alex and Eva get out of the car and walk to the airport doors. The driver loads suitcases and carry-on luggage from the trunk of the car onto a cart that has pulled up. An airport employee helps load the suitcases onto the cart. Ali and Eva enter the airport doors and walk along the hall towards the crowd of arrivals. One of the women walking towards Ali in the crowd of new arrivals looks at Ali, looking into his eyes. Ali, feeling someone's gaze, looks at the woman. They walk looking into each other's eyes and walking towards each other. The airport is crowded with people. Ali and the woman walk side by side looking at each other. Ali and Eva walk near the queue at the terminal. Ali and Eva walk through the simplified passage for VIP clients. Ali, going out the airport door leading outside, turns back and looks at the woman standing in the middle of the hall. The woman is standing and looking at Ali. Next to her is a man asking something. Ali lets Eva go ahead and follows her out. The doors close. 51. Nat Venezia Gondola. Angel and Devil Day. Gondola. Alex and Eva are standing hugging each other in a gondola. A gondola is floating towards their gondola, on which two people are standing, one in black in the guise of the devil, the other in white in the guise of an angel. The gondolas are floating next to each other. Alex and Eva are watching them go. Eva pressed herself against Alex. Alex. The carnival has begun. The gondola moors to the shore at a two-story white stone villa. A young man sits on a bench at the door of the villa. As the gondola approaches, he gets up from his seat and walks towards the arrivals. Boy. Alex greedy. Alex. Yes. Boy, I'm waiting for you. Welcome, please. He opened the large antique door with a key and swung it wide open. He handed the keys to Alex and looked at Eva. Boy, they only gave me one key. Alex. No problem. If I need a second key, I'll let you know. Alex handed the money to the gondolier who carried the suitcases into the house. The gondolier jumped into the gondola. The guy who handed over the keys to the house followed him into the gondola. Alex closed the doors of the house. 52. Int Alex and Eva Maski Seller Output Day. Alex and Eva in the mask shop. Salesman. These are our best masks. They are popular this year. Showing Ali one of the masks made of papier match. Alex. No, we want something classic. Something that is always popular. They look at the wall, which is covered with masks. Alex. Here. Alex pointed to a mask hanging from the ceiling. The salesman took out a white female mask with a pointer, which covered only the eyes. The mask was decorated with shiny rhinestones with a white feather on the right side. Alex took the mask in his hands and carefully put it on Eva's eyes. Eva smiled while looking in the mirror. Alex. How many? Salesman. 300. Alex took out the money and handed it to the seller. The seller nodded his head. Alex and Eva go out into the crowded street. They go out into the central square. The pigeons fly away noisily flapping their wings. Almost all the men and women are wearing masks and theatrical costumes. 53. Nat Alex and Eva Ali Maski Bridge evening. Alex and Eva are standing by the seashore. Alex is standing almost at the water's edge. Eva is standing at the curb 5 meters away from Alex. Alex turns to Eva and nods, smiling. Alex. Come to me. He waves his hand, calling me to him. Eva smiles and shakes her head from side to side, refusing to go to Alex. Eva stands leaning her hands on the iron crossbar. Black and white painted barrier for cars entering the beach area. Alex takes a couple of steps heading towards Eva. Eva takes a couple of steps back and stops, seeing that Alex has stopped. Alex takes a couple more steps to get closer to Eva. Eva takes a couple more steps back. Alex stops and looks at Eva. Eva stands smiling and getting ready to go back. Alex breaks away and runs towards Eva. Eva turns and starts running away from Alex. Alex runs up to the crossbar and jumps over it. Eva pauses and looks back. Seeing that Alex jumped over the crossbar, she screamed and ran even faster. Alex ran after Eva. A minute later, Alex caught up with Eva and grabbed her dress. Eva stopped. Alex. Far from being a refuge. Alex grabbed her in his arms. Eva pressed her hands against Alex's chest. Alex tried to press Eva to himself and kiss her. Eva, tired of struggling, clung to Alex. They stood and kissed in the middle of the embankment. Alex and Eva are walking down a small alley between 4 5-story buildings. Suddenly Alex takes Eva's hand and stops her. Eva looks at Alex. Alex pulls Eva toward him and, leaning Eva against the wall, begins to kiss her. Alex's right hand moves down to Eva's thigh. Alex puts his hand under her dress and Eva stops kissing Alex and, moving back a little, looks into Alex's eyes. Eve. Alex. Alex feels the thin line of Eva's panties and wraps them around his fingers. Eva grabs Alex's hands, trying to gently stop Alex. Alex rips Eva's panties off with one jerk. The thin elastic of the panties bursts. Alex raises his hand with Eva's panties. The torn elastic dangles at the side. Alex slowly moves away from Eva and takes a couple of steps back. Eva leans forward and reaches out to grab her panties. Alex jumps back. Eva rushes forward. Alex runs onto the bridge and reaches out with Eva's panties over the edge of the bridge. The panties hang over the running water under the bridge. Eva runs onto the bridge and, seeing that Alex has reached out with her panties over the water, screams. Eve, no. Alex smiles and squints from the sun getting into his eyes. Alex, yes. People pass by looking around and staring at the games of grown-up children. Alex opened his fingers and the panties flew into the water. Eva ran to the edge of the bridge and leaned on the stone fence of the bridge and began to look down. Alex leaned next to Eva looking at the water. Eva glanced at Alex, who was looking down as if nothing had happened. Eva looked down again in the hope of seeing at least something in the water. Alex stepped back and, bending over, began to look at Eva from behind. Eva, still leaning on the stonework, turned to Alex and followed his gaze. Eva, seeing that Alex was looking at her butt, smiled. Eva straightened up and took Alex's hands and pulled him towards her. Eva pressed her lips to Alex's lips and began to hug and grope Alex's body with her hands. A couple of passers-by stopped and began to look at the strange lovers kissing on the bridge. Suddenly Eva pushed Alex back and stretched her hand over the edge of the bridge fence and began to look at Alex. Alex was taken aback by the unexpectedness and looked at Eva's hand. In the fingers of Eva's outstretched hand hung Alex's bunch of keys. Alex reached for his belt. Alex, no. Eve, yes. Eva unclenched her fingers and the bunch of keys flew down. Alex leaned forward and tried to grab the keys with his hand. Alex closed his eyes and began to stand with his eyes closed on the bridge. 54. Nat house door stairs window dress evening. Alex and Eva walk hand in hand along the sidewalk to the villa. The doors of the villa are closed. Alex stops near the fire escape leading to the second floor. Alex puts his hand on the ladder and looks up. Eva looks up too. Alex. Let's. Eve. What, come on. Alex climbed to the top. Eve. For what? Alex, well, you threw the keys into the canal. So let's go. Eve, we'll order other keys. Alex. Yeah, it'll take a couple of hours for them to deliver. I'm not going to hang around here until night. Come on. Eve. I'm afraid. Alex. I'm with you. Alex pulled Eva to the ladder. Eva hesitantly grabbed the rung. Alex nodded and pointed upward, pushing Eva. Eva hesitantly stepped on her feet and climbed up. After climbing a few flights, she stopped and looked down at Alex. Alex stood below and looked up. Eva, seeing that Alex was looking up, pinned her skirt between her legs so that it wouldn't flutter. Eve. I will not climb alone. Alex smiled and climbed up after Eva. Eva stood pressed against the stairs and waited for Alex to climb up. Alex climbed up to Eva and hugged her with his arms enveloping her around. Alex. Well, go ahead. Eva climbed the step above. Alex followed the step above. Alex pressed to Eva with all the body. Eva looked down. Alex, do not look down. Eve began to rise up. So they got to the windowsill. The windows were open. Eva sat on the windowsill and pursuing the legs climbed into the room. Eva found himself and stood in full growth in the room. Alex climbed and stepped into the room. They found themselves in the bedroom of the second-floor room. The wall had a large double bed. In another wall mirror and several chairs. Alex took the hand of Eve and spent in the center of the room. Alex went back and sat down in a chair near the window. Eve was standing in the middle of the room in a short to the knees of pink-colored dress looking at the Alex. Alex looks at Eve and looking into her eyes says. Alex. Raise dress. Eva. That. Alex raised dress. Eva closes his eyes and lowers his head down. Having raised the head of Eva begins to sort out his fingers over the edge of the dresses at the hips. The edge of the dress climbs up the lights of the legs. Alex looking at Eve. Alex. Above. Eve began to sort her by the folds of the dress raising the edges of the dress above the heart of the hips and the vagina. Alex stood up and headed towards Eve. To be continued. 55 Nat San Marco Food Mask Violin Eva Morning 56 Nat Dress Church Friends Wedding Day End.
Больше нет статей.